I was just introducing myself and talking about what this is. It's women who do it all. And what I want to do is I want to inspire other women who are mothers who don't feel that they have enough time or that they can't do it, to spotlight you women and show them that, hey, I work, I have kids, and I'm also in the community. And so if I can do it, you can do it too. And that's just basically as simple as it is. And so this is going to be recorded and we're going to spotlight this on Mother's Day. So happy early Mother's Day to all of you.
Thank you.
So I wanted to go ahead and get started. So the idea I kind of got this from was an article that I had saw on Harvard Business Review. And it was stating, you know, how women, with everything going on, the pandemic and everything, they just don't know how women are able to do it all. So I'm going to take some inserts from the article that stood out to me. And forgive me, I'm going to read from the paper because I didn't put it on the screen. So forgive me. So the first quote is, I don't know how you do it, whether it comes from the start of a video conference or a call. This is one of my most frequent comments I hear from clients, colleagues, and even friends these days. And as we're doing these pre-check-in meetings, this statement always surprises me. I'm a professor who teaches, consults, and advises various organizations, now virtually. I'm a researcher who is engaged with colleagues on several projects. I'm a partner, married, and committed to a working spouse, trying to be creative and find fun dates and things to do on lockdown. I'm also a mom of 4 children. The oldest is 7, and the youngest is 6 months old. She's very busy. When I hear, I don't know how you do it, my answer is I don't, at least not perfectly, and sometimes not even well. Then she shifts her points and says, you know, with all that going on, she gives 4 bullet points that she just discusses, and she talks about how to do those things. And so I'll just go ahead and point out those bulletin points, and then we'll start our questions. Her first bulletin point was to go for being happy and not perfect. I know for all of us that's very hard, especially me. I'm a perfectionist in everything that I do. I want to give 110% every time that I do something. Her second point is to accept mistakes with curiosity. Her third point is to focus on what makes sense to you. And the last one is to find time for laughter. You know, sometimes with our busy lives and a pandemic and having to adjust to working from home and virtually and not being able to hug and touch and interact with people, it's been really hard to do that. So we got to find the joy and the laughter and the things that we do on a day-to-day basis, especially when we're out in the community impacting people. So my first question is, do you ladies agree with her?
Work together, and it was the greatest blessing to be able to see each other first thing every morning and check in, because I was struggling for a long time. My daughter's just turned 4, and so, you know, I'm kind of a rookie. I like to call myself a rookie parent. And Melody was a little more seasoned with Ashton. And so, but I mean, it's all about grace, and that's what Melody would tell me a million times a day sometimes. And also the laughter. We could cry one second and laugh the next, and it's so helpful to not feel isolated, not feel alone. And of course, that's probably the thing I miss the most from Amarillo College is my time with her. But we do check in with phones and texts and all that kind of stuff, and occasional lunch. But I agree. I think you have to find the laughter. You have to find the grace for yourself too.
I agree. Yes, yes. Alrighty, so with our first line of questions, it's just going to be real simple. So we're just going to start from, I guess, my left, and we're going to start with Anna. The first question is basically introduce yourself, tell us about your education, your community affairs, and family.
So hello, my name is Ana Ramirez, and I work at America's SBDC at WTAMU. I'm also past president of Los Barrios de Amarillo, and currently sit in a variety of boards, the Amarillo Chamber of Commerce, Business Council, the Neighborhood Barrio Planning Committee, Advisory Board, and I believe that I think the goal is not to be perfect, kind of in agreement with the article. I work full time, married, and I have two kiddos who are in the toddler stage. They're 5, so twins. And the goal is really not to do it all. I think it's the word that I learned to grasp is balance, and accepting help. Learning how to be okay with not being able to do everything in one day. And I live by a calendar some days, and so I do the list, and I know how to ask for help most days. Sometimes it's still hard, but I think the passion is what makes it all possible. And my motivation is definitely my kids, and giving back to my community who has helped me get here, because I think they supported my education and my career. And so whenever I do small business consulting, so I get to help a lot of people who also have dreams and aspirations. And so it doesn't really feel like a job. And so sometimes I have to remember to tell myself, and some days it's stressful. You just take a day off and kind of regroup, reset, and do it all again the next day.
All right. Well, thank you, Miss Anna. All right, Ruth, you want to introduce yourself? Tell us your education, community affairs.
Yes, ma'am. I'm Ruth Deanda, and I currently am an instructor of social work at WTAMU, my alma mater twice. Both my degrees are in social work. I've been in the field of social work for about 15 years now. Had a lot of great opportunities to serve on committees, do really great things that have inspired me. I definitely would say my biggest passion has always been voting. And so I would say that sometimes I would just go like one woman show and kind of go, all over the place with my voting quotes and pushing voting, and voter deputy registrar that I've been numerous times, and even going door to door. That's something that's really important. And I believe that our vote is our voice. So that's always been important to me. And I've been part of Indivisible Amarillo. That's an organization that works on specific campaigns and really just kind of pushes when there's certain candidates that align with some of the things that, a lot of the things that we agree with. And we kind of just go out and put that into the community as much as we can. Informational gatherings when pre-COVID, but definitely, still finding ways to do outreach. I'm also currently a co-facilitator for a postpartum mothers group, support group. That is something that myself and a friend of mine started up a few years ago now, because there were some postpartum issues that I had with anxiety, and she had it with depression. And we both just decided that that's not something that people talk about very openly. And to share it is not to be a victim of it, but more to empower ourselves and empower other mothers as well. And so we meet once a month, the last Wednesday of every month. And we have an amazing group that gets to meet when we get to do it in person. We just started back to those meetings, masked and socially distanced, because we're all wanting to be careful, but it's important to have community. And that is something that I'm incredibly proud of. And it helped me through those early stages of her life, my daughter's life. And I just have to keep giving back, to pay it forward from the tribe and the community and the family that took care of me. So.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm glad you mentioned that, because not a lot of ladies know about that. And it is important.
Yes.
And we don't realize that as women, that we need that care. So thank you for mentioning that. Miss Idella?
Yes, ma'am. I am Idella Thomas Jackson. I am the Constable for Carter County Precinct 4. I serve the area of the northeast and northwest side of town. Just got reelected to my 3rd term. Looking forward to continue serving. And I'd like to thank you guys for having me on and being a part of this. I think it's very important that we speak out about this. But I'm I'm a mother of 3. all my kids are grown. I think I'm the oldest one on this panel. I have grandkids and all that. I mean, my kids are done with college and at the house, but I'm excited about that as well. But to talk about what you talked about earlier about how we able to, to maintain all that, what I did when my kids were home, I just had to self-motivate myself. You have to self-motivate and self-encourage yourself to move forward. And because it definitely can get overwhelming as women, because we are required to do all the work and some. And so you just got to have that self-motivation. But I have been in my position I've been in the field for about 27 years now, you guys. I am really looking forward to retirement and moving on and doing other things. But I currently am one of the board of directors for the Boys and Girls Club. I serve as the committee chair for the safety committee and been there for about 5 years now. And I'm a firm believer in giving back to the community. I'm in awe with Miss Melanie Graves. She's so young and full of energy. I remember when I was like that back in the day. I don't say how you do it, lady. It can get overwhelming sometimes, but you're doing an awesome job and keep up the great work. And again, thanks for having me.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for joining us. And last but not least, Miss Melody.
Yes, my name is Melody Graves. I am the Associate Director of Advising at Amarillo College right now. I have been at AC for 11 years. I too graduated from WT with my bachelor's and my master's. My community work is extensive, as anybody that knows me or follows me on Facebook knows. I currently actively serve on 9 different boards. I'm the president of the North Heights Advisory Association, the president of the Amarillo United Citizens Forum, and I'm on a lot of other boards. The reason though that I serve on that many boards is because I'm a community advocate. I love the North Heights community because I see the potential that's here. And I am constantly working to bring all that work together under one umbrella to get the people in this community served. So I have long days. Sometimes it goes into the wee hours of the morning and then you have to get up and you have to go to work. But at the end of the day, when I think about, why am I doing this? I'm a single parent. I have a 13-year-old Black male, and he is my motivation, especially with kind of what's going on right now. I have to make sure that he knows the value of giving back. I have to make sure that there's a place left for him that I feel is worthy of my child. He's my everything. And if you ever got to meet him, he's just a ball of fire. He is all heart, big teddy bear. And that's just who I am. I am motivated by change. I am motivated by seeing the potential in others, oftentimes when they can't see it in themselves. I believe that everybody can sit at the table of success and that we can all eat. And I think sometimes people don't see that, it's like I need to get mine and you get, you worry about you, but I don't want to be by myself. If I make it, I want to reach back and pull up 10 other people and I want all them to make it. And I want to encourage them to pull 10 and 10. And next thing you know, we having a party at the table, because I truly believe that success is for everybody. And so when I wake up every day, I have to say, I pray and I ask God, how will you use me today? What will you use me to do? And I found myself helping the homeless people that need it, helping students in crisis that need it. And I sometimes sit because it gets overwhelming. People come and they confide in you some of their deepest, darkest secrets. And you're like, God, why me? Why me? But it's just that aura that you have, that's part of being that vessel that he uses you as. And so that's all I want to do. I want to be a good servant. That's my heart. I have a definite servant's heart. And so that's why I keep pushing, because I know this community is going to thrive.
That's awesome. And
I have to interject. She is also a TED Talk speaker.
Yes.
And she needs to say that. The world is hearing her voice as it should. And I have to put that out there.
Thank you.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. I mean, it gets hard some days. So my next question is, when did you decide that this is what you wanted to do? I know we go through life and, we grow up and we say, this is what I want to be when I grow up. You know, I started off wanting to be a nurse because that was the only thing that I thought that you could do to care for people. And then life has led me to the social work path and showed me a whole different spectrum of how to help people and how to serve people. And so I absolutely love what I want to do. So although I didn't do nursing, I still, you know, I fell in love with social work, and I think this is going to be my forever thing. So when did you decide, hey, this is what I wanted to do? And if not, and you want to do something else or do something more, what's your goal? And anybody can start us. We'll start with Miss Ruth.
Okay. So I grew up in a very small town, farming community. Really just always had the passion to help people. It was always one of those things that followed me around, which usually does when you want to do social work, that I was there for anybody I could be. And I wanted everyone to be treated with respect and dignity, with worth. And I remember that I used to do these little small town pageants. I don't say that very much, but I used to do these small town pageants, and they would always say, what is the quality you like best about yourself? And I would always say my ability to see everyone as an equal. I started saying that when I was in first grade. And so it was important to me to keep communicating that to my community, to when I came to school. I just said, I just want to help people. And they said, well, that's social work, more or less. I mean, if you want to, you know, empower people, problem solve, I could always do those things. And I never looked back. I mean, I definitely have worked in the field of higher ed, and I've seen how you can change your mind a lot of different times. And I understand that 100%. I just never changed my mind. And I'm so grateful, because I always say social work, you don't choose social work, it chooses you and it finds you. And that's what it did. And it's been my forever thing. I'm in love with it. I'm a hype man for social work and Melody Graves. And, you know, I just 100% know that I'll never do anything different. And now I'm in a position where all of the experience I've had for almost 15 years is, and I'm talking direct practice out in the field, I'm able to influence and educate future social workers. And I never expected that, but I love it. And so I do occasionally miss the practice part where I'm out there doing the hard social work, but I also appreciate the fact that there's generations coming after me and new groups of social workers that are going to go out and do amazing things. And so I'm excited that you are passionate about it. And I'm so looking forward to seeing how your journey turns out, because it's an incredible, incredible profession.
Yes, and I'm beginning to see that. I didn't think it was something I could do, but I mean, I'm doing it and I really do. I love it. I mean, it's just opened my eyes to very different things that I didn't know that I was passionate about until it kind of pulled it out of me. So I'm grateful that I've decided on this path instead. So Freddie, who would like to go next?
I'll go next if you ladies don't mind.
Yeah.
I knew as a young girl I wanted to be along this field, because I always wanted to have a job where I had to wear some type of uniform. I wasn't into, you know, dressing up every day. So whatever it took to where I had to wear the same uniform every day, that's what I wanted to do. So I started off in the nursing field, and when I applied for a job at the Bill Clemens unit, I learned right away that the field of nursing was not for me. It was not for me. And so I changed fields while being employed at TDCJ and got into the security part of it. And it has been a passion for me ever since then. And so I'm able to wear a uniform every day and to be an influence to other young women of color while I'm out and about. And I'd like to give a shout out to Emerald College, Melanie Graves, and West Texas A&M. I've graduated with 2 associate's degrees from Emerald College. I'm currently enrolled at West Texas A&M and will be graduating this fall with my bachelor's degree. So you know,
Awesome. Yay.
never too old for learning, never too old for knowledge. I'm the first in my family to obtain a degree, and I have 13 siblings, and I'm the youngest of 13, and the only one who will be obtaining my bachelor's degree. So I'm excited about that. But yes, all my life, since I've been a little girl, I knew I wanted a job to where I get to wear a uniform every day. And look where God has led me.
That's awesome. That's not an easy decision to make. I mean, I like dressing up, so that wouldn't be my forte, but you make it look great. So.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All righty. Miss Melody, you want to go next?
Sure. Could you repeat the question? The answers. I'm getting all lost in the answers. I'm like, what is
I
it?
know. When did you decide this is what you wanted to do?
Oh, goodness. I think I was probably my senior year in high school, and we were watching Mississippi Burning, and my teacher, so a kid in the class raised their hand and was like, "Is this real?" And my teacher was like, "No, that's not real. This is a dramatization. This is not, things like this never happen." And I didn't know it then, but it became my mission to prove that kind of ignorance wrong. And so from there, I went to AC. I thought I was going to do business. No, or I thought I was going to do engineering. And then I graduated with business. And then I went on to WT, and I was like, okay, let me join the speech team. So I did that for a little bit. I've always wanted to be a motivational speaker. I can remember being one of the first MLK speakers in Amarillo back in the 90s, and we used to have a big celebration, and it was just something about standing there at that pulpit and all of those people and them standing and clapping and just being so enthralled in what I was saying. And then to go to school and learn how to do it professionally, and then to, just keep progressing. And then I think when I grew up, because I live in the same community that I grew up in. And, I can remember people like Miss Neal, we would go to tutoring every Tuesday and Thursday at the Y, and the men would be playing basketball. And we would sneak out of tutoring to go watch the boys play basketball. And she would come get us every time. If it was 5 times during the day, y'all better get back in here and get your lesson. Y'all better get back in here, But it was they became like my village, like they took me to my first ballet, and they exposed me to things that I never would have been exposed to had I not been part of the Delta youth group. And so as I got older, I wanted other people to have those experiences. And I left for a year and went to Nebraska to try to work on my PhD. Those people are crazy up there. So I came back to Texas. And when I got back, it's just like the community had changed. We were divided, and there were people talking against each other. And where, there used to be fellowship and fun, it had become a dangerous, broke down part of town. And I was like, how did we get here? And I can remember being the president of a group called CMC, and it was just like basically helping North Heights to bring in resources and things like that. And somebody said, you can't advocate for that community unless you're over there experiencing it. And I didn't know what he meant. I had gone to my parents' house and left, but then I moved over here. And I was like, oh, okay, this is what he meant, But then I could see the injustices being done. I could see what was being done. And I was a product of what was being done and not done. And I could start to speak to that. And so I can remember as far back as kindergarten getting report cards that had refrains from unnecessary talking, and so now I tell my mom, remember, I used to get in trouble all the time for that. And now you want me talking everywhere, and she's like, no, that's not the same thing. But I think just being able to use my voice to move people to action, I think is amazing. And I think when I stood on the stage at the rally that the NAACP had, and the park was full of people, and it was a lot of people that were hurt and they didn't know which way to turn. And as I stood there and everybody's eyes were on me, they were looking at me to give them direction and encouragement. And I never compare myself to Dr. King, but I'm like, that must be what he felt like in that moment when he was delivering those speeches, and everybody just, they needed to hear something, but who was going to be the one to say it? And then on that day, God just chose me to say it. And ever since then, it's just like, I just became an advocate. Like, if I see something, I'm gonna say something, whether that's with the city, whether that's with the police, anything, at AC, wherever. If people tell me something is going on, then I'm gonna investigate. I wanna know what's going on, because I feel like I have that duty, because if not me, then who? You know, and if not now, then when? You know, and so that, I don't know. I mean, I always love to talk. And so now I can talk with a purpose. And so if you ask me how long, I think I wanted to be a motivational speaker my entire life. And so right now, my career is helping people through Amarillo College. But ultimately, that's what I want to do. I want to travel around and I want to uncover social justice, and I want to encourage people to push harder. And I want to talk to people who are on the verge of giving up and say, no, you can't give up. You got a little ways to go. You know, the finish line is right there, you know, because I feel like if nothing else, I have an encouraging spirit. And if people can, I want somebody to be like, man, I kept going because of what you said, you know, or I feel like I can keep moving because you're keeping moving. I think that's the most important thing. So that's what I've always known that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Miss Anna?
So I didn't really know what I'd like to do for the rest of my life, but I grew up as a first generation student, and growing up I saw a lot of need in my Hispanic community, and I noticed that a lot of people didn't know where to go to ask for help, or they felt that they weren't included. They felt kind of like an outsider. I knew I wanted to go to college. My parents kind of pushed for that, and I became a student at the SBDC at WT, and they offered me my first job as coordinator. Well, a year into that, I was promoted to consultant, and I think that's when I realized that I could do so much. And so I started reaching out to a lot of our Hispanic entrepreneurs, and I realized there's a lot that they don't know. There's a lot of opportunity, and I can help them get what they need. And so I started kind of advocating for that, advocating to them, and letting them know that there was somebody out there to help. And so that's how I started growing our outreach to Hispanic communities. And that's kind of my little niche at the SBDC. I do a lot of Hispanic consulting. That's also how I got involved in Los Barrios de Amarillo, promoting higher education, because the same problem. We don't know what we don't know. A lot of kids believe that they don't have the money to go to school, or there's not a lot of opportunities out there. They don't know about their trades. They don't know about their options. And so kind of like one of the the co-hosts on there said, if you can help one person, why not help 10? And we can all come up to the top. There's a lot of room up here. We'll need a lot more Hispanics on the table. And so when I realized that I could do it and I could speak in their language, I became more passionate. And so I'm doing what I love now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I think we spoke about this a little bit, and I think that you ladies are very successful at what you do. So what drives you to do that? What drives you to wake up every morning to do that? And I think we touched on that a little bit, but expand on that a little bit more on what drives you. And Anna, we'll go ahead and start with you since you just finished.
I think the success of watching somebody go from an idea to an actual business, the gratitude of changing somebody's life is enough motivation, I think, to be able to drive through Amarillo Boulevard and see all these businesses, or to see, that handyman that now has his own business, to be able to see, oh, hey, he is now grown his business twice as much. And so I think about that, and I see all the growth, and it's impacting our economy. And not only that, seeing the younger Hispanics and seeing the rates go up, and seeing how many more are going to college, I think that's enough motivation for me to keep going and keep helping people. The more people that know about me, the more businesses that we have out here. So I think it benefits us all that we're all passionate about helping our entrepreneurs and our Hispanic businesses to grow and thrive. I think it makes our community strong. And so it's just a little piece, but that's my motivation, to think that we all benefit from it.
That's awesome. We do need strong communities in Amarillo for sure. Miss Idella, what drives you to be successful?
Oh, what drives me? Deanna, is the young generation. I believe that the young generation is our future, and for them to be able to see someone that looks like them in some of these key positions is definitely a plus, because I believe they can see it, they can be it as well. So my drive comes from not only, the young generation as well as my kids growing up. When they were young, I wanted to be that motivating factors for them, lead by example. If they see mom is, working hard and running the household and going to school, she can do it, then I can do it. I don't even have to pay bills or anything. Mom is doing it, all that I can do it as well. And so that's my motivating factor, is our next generation.
That's awesome.
Yes, ma'am.
All righty, Miss Melody.
I think my motivators are, of course, my son, as I spoke about earlier, and I think bringing light to social injustice. I believe that before certain things happened, that America was on the road to being a great place, and we've digressed from that. But I truly believe that if we get back to loving each other and understanding each other and advocating for each other, I feel like that we can get back to that. And so that's my motivation, is to get to a place where people can truly judge me by the content of my character instead of the color of my skin.
Amen.
That's good. Miss Ruth.
How do I follow that? No. I think it's has some similarities in that I think social justice has always been a passion of mine, and I think it was something that was instilled in me for a really long time. So that's kept my passion going. I believe in the community that I live in, that I grew up in, that I have access to. My in-laws are immigrants from Mexico, and they've been here over 30 years. And so immigration is always something that kind of inspires me and pushes me for that to be something that works better for our country, and understanding how it's been built so much on immigrants, but also Black people. And we have to be true to all of that. And so I feel like passionate for that. I feel passionate for the Black community. I've always been someone who has studied and learned and asked questions and advocated and spoken and all the things I could possibly do against injustice, and specifically, unfortunately, with what's been going on with the killing of Black men, unarmed Black men. And that's a problem. And so I find a lot of passion in that. And I have to show my community that we can also go side by side with the Black community and help each other. And so that inspires me. Social work, helping people, empowering, it all plays in together. But those are my motivations. And of course, my daughter, she's watching me, and she knows what I'm starting to understand more, what I stand for. And I have a supportive spouse, a husband who understands that too. He's a little more quiet, but those are my passions. That's what pushes me every day.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I know definitely for women, a lot of women struggle with their past and their childhood, and they state that, if they would have had it different, or if they would have knew what they knew when they were young, that they would have, that they could maybe succeed or do better. And so, I mean, it's never too late to learn, and it's never too late to be successful. And I think a lot of women think that if they didn't start it, then they can't finish that way. And so, just as a little thing, what would you say to a younger you? So, and the reason I'm asking this is because there may be young women or teens or high school kids or college kids that are watching, and they may find inspiration in what you would say to a younger you. So anybody can start this. I know that's kind of a hard question, but what would you say to a younger you?
I would start.
Go ahead.
Go
man.
ahead.
Well, I would say that your past mistake is not going to determine what your outcome is going to be, because I definitely wasn't perfect. Growing up, I was an adolescent, and I was getting in trouble because I lost my mom at a real young age. And so my dad took me in, and he was so strict. And I just wasn't trying to hear it. And I was like very rebellious and out there. And I could have easily went the other direction, you know, but by God's saving grace, I had my oldest son at a very, very young age. I was 17 when I had him. And just because, you know, you're a teenage mother doesn't mean that it, you know, your future isn't bright. So I would say to any young mother who possibly had a child at a real young age that you can continue to be successful. It's going to slow you down, but it won't never stop you from grinding and shining when you set your heart and your mind to do so. So, I mean, you may be heading down the wrong path, but it's always an opportunity to change direction.
That's right. That's
Yes,
good.
ma'am.
Miss Anna?
I was just gonna say that my advice would be don't be afraid to sit at the table, to attend the meetings, to ask the questions, to be the youngest one there, to be a minority at the events, or you know, in your community, be the first one to get out there. You would be surprised how easy it is to find something in common, whether it's your passion or even just another woman who is, you know, who struggled just like you and who could be your mentor or that could help you enhance your talent. So just don't be afraid to sit at the table.
That's good. I like that.
Good. Me too.
Miss Melanie?
I think mine could be summed up probably in 3 points. If I could tell myself, I would tell myself that I was beautiful and that I was worthy. I don't think we hear that enough growing up. True. And finding your worth is a hard journey. I would tell myself that love doesn't hurt.
That's deep.
Yeah, you know, and I think that would have saved a lot. And then I think the last thing that I would tell myself is to push myself outside of my comfort zone, because that's how I'll grow. Yeah, and probably the last thing is that algebra is not needed in every profession. So yeah, to my math.
Yeah.
That was the first thing I was going to say. That was the first bullet point off mine. That math doesn't define you. Math does not define you. Okay, that's what I would have told my young self. I just, everything came into play of all the things I learned, and I think I would have just reassured a younger me that it was going to work out somehow, some way. And like Miss Idella said, it's by the grace of God that these things can work out. And I feel like every opportunity, and I'm grateful, and I say this very humbly, every opportunity that I've had, it's all the ones I've wanted and I've hoped for and I've prayed for. That hard work does pay off, but also loving people pays off. Connecting with people, having those relationships with people is essential. So all the things that I was doing growing up were just setting that road, paving that way for me. And I just would want to reassure myself that it's going to be hard sometimes. There's going to be difficult things to go through, especially in social work. And I'm sure in all of our professions in different ways, but seeing sometimes the worst of humanity and then the best of humanity, sometimes within one day. So I think I would have just told myself it's going to be everything that you thought and more. You couldn't have even imagined. And anyone can do it. And that's what I loved about my time at Amarillo College. You can be any age, background, first generation, non-traditional, you know, it's everyone can sit at the table. And I think we all collectively have said that. And I think it's true. And so that's what I would do, is just reassure any younger person, my younger self, that it can work. It takes hard work, but it can work.
That's awesome. I think a lot of people, and especially women in general, feel like they don't have the time. Time is nobody's best friend. And so I think they feel that, well, oh, I'm a parent, so I can't go out and be a part of that community, or I'm already in this, so I don't need to be involved in this, and I already do this, so I don't have time to work and do this, that, or the other, or I can't go back to school because of whatever reason. So you ladies do a lot in the community, and you also work in everything as well as taking care of your family. So how do you juggle it all? How would somebody who's sitting behind, who's on the sofa, just got through putting their kids to sleep, and they may want to go out and they may want to do something, but they don't know how. So ladies, how do you juggle it? We'll start with you, Miss Melody.
Man, I still struggle with that because I tend to put myself last. And so I think a lot of women do that, like I feel like I have to give and give and give and give and give. And then at the end, there might be just a little bit for me left. And so I find myself becoming exhausted and overworked and disengaged even sometimes because I just feel like I have just given all that I can. And so to fix that, it's important that you have good self-care and that you have good squad care. And your squad care is the people who are around you. But the self-care is just like disconnecting from everything, they told me, they were like, start off and just take 5 minutes for yourself. If you've ever tried to do that, that is like so hard. You think, oh, that's just a song, but it is so hard to just take 5 minutes and then build up from that. And then they're like, oh, well, go get your nails done and go get and all that. Well, then my phone rings while I'm getting it done. So I still have to work, And so for me, it's being intentional about caring for myself. It's being intentional because I can't say no, right? So I have to be intentional. I have to say yes to myself sometimes. So like I'm pushing. I have to know when my limits are, because I was in a situation and it was bad for my health in that situation. Like I developed like a stress-induced skin disorder. So you could always tell when I'm going through it because I start to like my face and stuff starts to break out and that I'm just intent on something. But it's in those moments that I had to grow and be like, you can't be like this. You're gonna be in front of the public. You gotta look all right. You have to take care of yourself. And I think what I hear on an everyday basis is somebody telling me you can't pour from an empty cup every day because they can see it, because like if I'm self-cared up and I'm rested, then I'm ready. But if I'm not, I'm still ready, but it's just a little bit sluggish. And they're like, your cup is empty today. What have you done for yourself? So that's where the squad comes in because you need people around you who are going to keep you in check when it comes to that stuff. Like, you can't be on 9 different boards and effectively do what you need to do. You have to figure that out. But then once you figure it out, they're the same ones that are like, okay, I knew you could do it. I knew you were going to come up with a strategy. It's the people who you keep around you. I think that also helps as well.
Yes. Miss Idella?
Well, I'm kind of different from Melody. It took me a while, but I had to learn how to say no because people will overwork you and ask you to do every little thing. And so I don't have no problem with saying no. So that helps me a lot. And then you got to have passion for what you're doing. I mean, when you have that passion for doing something, it makes a whole world of difference. And you make time for it. And also you got to include time management. You got to know how to manage your time and know what's on your books, what you can and what you cannot do. And again, when you can't do it, just tell people no. They'll be mad for a little while, but they'll get over it. They'll get over it sooner or later. But I, through the years, just what I've done and what I continue to do is because I have passion for it. So
Awesome.
I'm gonna learn how to say no, Miss Idella. I'm gonna learn. I'm Miss Idella said I can say no.
Right? I got you, girl. I got you.
Miss Ruth?
Oh man, I think, that this is probably the most, I'm going to say the least confident answer I'm probably going to have because it's the hardest thing I've ever done. I have been so fortunate to have a career that has just been molded the way I would like it to, kind of grown the way I wanted it to. Not cocky, but I definitely believed in all the things I could do and what I could bring to it. And motherhood just wiped that right out. So juggling that is probably the hardest thing because now I probably give almost everything I have to motherhood. And I still do well at work, but sometimes it's hard to just balance it a little bit. And there's nothing wrong in balancing when you're a working mom, especially. But I think just staying true and real, like Melody said, having a squad, a group of people who you can lean on. And I've always had a village that has held me up in the times that I've started to fall. In the times when I'm the hardest on myself about the kind of mother that I am and the kind of child that I'm raising and all of those things. But I'm very proud to say I'm a working mom. I think it's okay to be a working mom, and we can all bring something different. I have so much respect for my stay-at-home mom friends and family that can do that. That's an incredible feat that I'm not going to pretend like I could do, because I can't. But I just keep my eyes on this beautiful child that I'm raising and reminding myself that she's going to love me no matter what. And that I can still do all the things because I somehow manage to. They're not perfect by any means, but they're as good as I can get them every day. And that's okay. Sometimes it's just the good, getting the basic needs met, or sometimes what gets you through the day. And that's okay too.
That's right. That's good. Miss Anna?
I would say the goal is not to do it all. But when you're doing something, give it the best that you've got. Some days it's your kids, you need to be there and tutor them and give them all, 100% of your attention. And some days it's at work, working late for some event. And we have to be realistic with our time and, set some boundaries of, what you're passionate about, what's more important to you. But I would say be okay with not being able to do it all, but the things that you can and want to do, learn how to balance, and be okay with not being able to give it all some days,
That's good. That's good. I think we all have to learn that we have to decide on what day, what's important that day for us. And we have to do that. And that has to just be enough. And I think as women, we're really tough on ourselves and we're really hard on ourselves. And we just have to learn to just listen, like you said, self-care, and making sure we're taking care of ourselves before we can take care of anybody else, because that's what's most important. So my last question, which I think it covers everything basically we've all discussed. And again, thank y'all for being here. It's been such an honor just to sit down, and so refreshing to sit with women and just take time to just say, hey, this is how to get it done. And, it's important. I think for me, it's important for people to know that you can do it. You can go to school if you want to. You can work. You can get involved in your community and still have time for your family. You ladies are showing that right now. And I think we just have to learn to balance and really just take inspiration from other ladies and knowing that it is possible to do. Again, like I said, I want to inspire all ladies. I want to inspire all women to get out there and get involved in the community, because the community you live in is very important. You live there, you play there, you work there. So why not take care of the community? But, and so I want to show women that it is possible to do that, that you can work and play, but also take care of your community. So my last question is, what would you say to young women, who feel like they don't have any hope, who feel like I'm just here? What would you say to just inspire women who just feel like that's their only place and that's their only thing to do is just to be here? What would you say to them? Want to start with you, Miss Idella?
Yes, ma'am, I will start. I would say that to a young person who is hopeless, that you are needed and you are here for, for a purpose. God got you here on this earth for a purpose. And so don't ever think that, your life is not of value. You're definitely, your life definitely had value. You might, be off track now, but I can guarantee you God put you here for a reason. And he's not gonna, leave you or forsake you, and that you won't leave this earth until you fulfill that purpose. And so I just want to definitely encourage a young person that just continue on, and you will definitely find what your purpose is, and just to stay encouraged.
That's right.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Ruth?
I love to encourage people to keep pursuing or to pursue for the first time, whatever they're passionate about. And there can be moments that feel dark and like there's not hope, but there is a possibility of doing all the things you want to do. And I like what Miss Idella said, that you're needed, and we have to encourage each other. If we're specifically, like we've been talking about women, especially us, we need to stick together, band together, understand each other, and support each other. So there is hope. And sometimes it's our very own, group of people, our very own gender, that knocks each other down and pushes each other to the side and says, get out of my way, I'm trying to get to the thing over there. But we can reach back, we can reach wherever someone is and say, what can I do to help? What can I do to get you there? And I know that that's what it's always going to be, as a passion to get people to do what they love to do. That's what was really awesome about Amarillo College. And now I get to continue it in a different way, but there's hope. It takes hard work sometimes. There's going to be stumbling blocks, but there is a way to get there. And anyone, if I can do it, anybody can do it. It's really true. And just having that faith. And if you don't have it, find, like Melody said, your squad. Find your people that can say, hey, you can do this. It's possible. And keep looking for those people, those especially women, that can help you along the way, because we're out there. I'll be your hype man if you want me to. Melody can share, but we can be there for each other. And I think that gives hope too, being there for each other.
Yes.
Good.
Yes, I agree. Miss Melody?
Trying to keep it toned down, because I'll take it to church on that last comment. I just think that it's important for people that have lost hope to know that it's always darkest right before the sun shines. Mm-hmm. And that we've all been there. We've all dealt with depression. We've all dealt with anxiety, and that they're not by themselves, and because we made it, they can make it too. It's not going to be easy. We didn't promise them that, but what we're saying is that they will make it. And in my TED talk that I recently gave, I gave the analogy of the diamond. And if you know about a diamond, you know that it starts off as a rock, a lump of coal, nothing, no value. But then you put it in the oven, you put that pressure and you apply that pressure. And when it comes out, it's beautiful. It's something that people can't even understand the shine. And so for people that have lost hope, I want you to hold on, because right now you're just under the pressure. But as soon as that pressure releases, your shine is going to be so bright that the people who look down on you are not going to understand it. But it's not for them to understand. You have to understand it, and you have to embrace it, and you have to love it, and you have to keep pushing it. And then you have to find other rocks, and you have to encourage them to get under the pressure so that they could shine. Because it's nothing like being a diamond in a room full of diamonds and everybody is shining and everybody is happy and everybody is succeeding. And for the hopeless, I think it's important that we tell them that does not exist. A point of no hope cannot exist in your life. You can never give up hope. I don't care how hard it is, how bad it is, how dark it is. I don't care who leaves you, who walks out on you. I don't care what opportunities you thought that were meant for you. You have to understand that what God has for you, nobody can take it. And as long as you wait for that, and as long as you hope for that, and as long as you keep your face set on something that's stronger than me and anybody on this panel and anybody in this world, that you are going to be victorious in this storm. And so if I had to provide the hope, I would just let people know that the sorrow doesn't last always. And I haven't always been the person that I am today, but because of what I've gone through, it's brought me to this point at this time, and I'm going to continue, and I hope that they continue as well.
Oh, good stuff.
Amen to that. Miss Anna, you want to finish us out?
Sure thing. Well, I'd say I apologize, first of all, if we make it seem easy, because it's not. It's very hard. And I think that I would add to that an agreement that we all struggle with something. We all have our hard days, and we all need to stick together and kind of empower each other so that we can all, you know, be successful. So it's not easy. It's hard, but we can do it.
That's right. Well, ladies, I want to thank each and every one of you for dedicating your time tonight in your busy schedule to sit with me and have our tea. You, and just, it's okay. And just have conversation and inspire other women. And I want to tell you all to have a happy Mother's Day. And I hope that when we get this aired out, that people will watch it on Mother's Day and that they will be inspired and they will sit and relax and do something for themselves and just watch this and take this to heart. Because I just think, you know, in the society today, a lot of women and even men too, we just all need encouragement from time to time. And it's hard to just find that with, you know, somebody, you know, people when they're friends, they're busy, they don't have the time to, you know, talk with one another. And so it's just nice to click a button where you find somebody who's speaking life into you instead of the negative talk or the videos, this, that, or the other. So I'm excited for this to be put on our page and on our Facebook page to inspire other women. I hope we get lots of comments and questions. And if you do, ladies, if you need help, if you want to know more information about getting involved, reach out to any one of us. We're definitely an open book and we will get you started where you need to. But make sure you are out doing something in your community. Make sure you are doing something to inspire your kids or even if you don't have kids, to inspire your family. Just make sure you are doing something to better your community and yourself, and that you're taking care of yourself, and that mental health is important. So if you can't take care of you, then you can't take care of anybody else.
Exactly.
So we need to not shy away from that. I mean, I think that as women and definitely women of color, we do shy away from mental health and we forget how important that is. And so lean on to one another, you know, talk to one another, reach out, lift somebody up, and just let them know that, hey, you're there and that you're special and that you can do it. So again, thank you. And I want to lift our glass and cheers. Even if you have a water bottle, Miss Idella. Cheers and happy Mother's Day to you, ladies.
Cheers. Thank you for the opportunity. This is
Yes.
awesome.
Absolutely.
Definitely. I love sitting with you ladies. Wonderful.
Enjoyed it.
Yes, thank you so much. And cheers to you, ladies. And thank you so much for everything you do and your family, your home, your community, and in your work as well. So thank you for taking time out today. And y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm sure lots of you have to go cook and everything else. So.
No cooking tonight.
I was like,
We're gonna pick something up and go.
Okay.
Get our to go. That's right.
I need y'all to tell my son that because he in there like, Mama, what you gonna cook?
Yeah. You different. All my people grown over here. They y'all take care. Enjoyed it.
All right. Love y'all.
Thank y'all so much. Bye-bye.